Jeffery Skilling, the disgraced former CEO of Enron, struck a deal with the Justice Department that could get him freed from federal prison in just 4 years. That is 10 years earlier than the sentence handed down at his 2006 conviction for fraud, conspiracy, and insider trading, crimes that contributed to the collapse of the Texas-based energy giant in 2001. A federal judge has to approve the agreement at a resentencing in June before he gets that early release. Scott Cohn has, of course, been following this story for years. Tell us how this came about, Scott.
Well, this was a classic negotiation. Remember that back in 2006, when this trial took place of Enron's Jeff Skilling and the late Ken Lay, the wounds from the dot-com bubble were still fresh. Judge Sim Lake in Houston sentenced Jeff Skilling to 24 years and 4 months in prison. A harsh sentence, one of the harshest of all times for white-collar crime. A federal appeals court in 2009 ruled that that sentence was too harsh and he should get more like 15 years, but the resentencing has been on hold because Skilling had a number of appeals that had to work through, including going to the U.S. Supreme Court, which sent it back to the Court of Appeals, which still upheld the conviction. Skilling wants some freedom. He's 59 years old. The government wants to be done with this case, and there's some $40 million in restitution that Skilling owed to the victims, but that all was tied up. Now all of this goes away. The money can be distributed. Skilling gets his freedom. The 19 convictions for fraud, conspiracy, and insider trading stand. Skilling can't appeal them anymore.
You know, Scott, what is just amazing and was surprising to hear this decision is that we've seen before other convicted, high-profile CEOs not having any success in getting, time off. There's Alan Stanford. There was Dennis Kozlowski of Tyco. What did Skilling do that they didn't do and that he got this time off?
Well, one of the issues is that the case against Skilling had flaws, and the appeals court mentioned that. The Supreme Court, as I said, kicked it back. And so he had a little bit of leverage here. He was set to go to the district court, the judge who sentenced him, and say there was misconduct by the Enron task force, the elite Justice Department team of prosecutors that handled this case. That would have opened up a whole new can of worms, more appeals, potentially a new trial, and everyone has just decided now, let's get on with life.
Is getting the judge's approval in this case a foregone conclusion, or is that really remaining a hurdle?
It is a hurdle. Remember, the judge handed down a very harsh sentence to begin with. He still does have to, it's the same judge, still has to approve this deal. Now, he's been aware of the negotiations that have been going on. He's been holding conference calls with the defense attorneys and the prosecutors, but that doesn't mean he's signed off on it. It will now be up to him, and the sentencing will take place on June 21st, and we'll see.
All right, Scott Cohn, thank you very much.
Okay.